2, 1. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Return of the Retro. I am Randark, and with me, as always, is Urvik. Say hi, Urvik.
Titties and beer.
Titties and beer, indeed. Today is Tuesday, November 26th. We have no guests, so that's terrific, but we have been playing a game. What have we been playing?
Pokemon X and Y.
X
Two
and
games,
Y.
really.
2 games united but in one front against the evil forces of Team Flare.
All I can think about is Office Space. They got too many buttons. Team buttons.
Pokemon! We are part of the Geek Insomnia Network. You should be listening to all the shows in the Geek Insomnia Network, including Geek Culture Happy Hour, Late Night Steamer, Minecraft Uncensored, and us, Return to the Retro. And if you have a podcast that would fit into our wonderful network here and would like to be part of it, send me an email, hosts@returntotheretro.com, and I will do what I can to get you on it. Urvik, what have you been playing?
I've been playing quite a few games. As per last week, I'm still back into the WoW. I picked up a X-Bone, so I've been playing Ghosts on the X-Bone, which is actually really good. Been
Ghosts
playing
or
Pokemon
the
X.
Xbox?
Both. I've actually been enjoying both. I've got a little bit of time into Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, which I'm still kind of torn on. We'll get there. We'll talk about it a little probably at some point. But I've been enjoying it, but it's very different at the same time. Not bad, but different. Dead Rising 3 on the old X-Bone is pretty good. Takes actually pretty decent use of the Kinect features. And I got a beta for Hearthstone and...
Hey, you finally got in. Excellent.
I did. And ESO. I did the stress test over the weekend, so I did both of those.
Yeah, I couldn't get it in the stress test. The first time I tried to download it, I ran out of hard drive space. By the time I got back around to downloading it, server was down.
It's not bad. It's definitely it's action combat,
NDA,
which
NDA.
yeah, it's good. I don't care. What are they gonna do? Sue me? I ain't got nothing. It's good. It's good. Probably not a WoW killer or anything, but good.
Good.
I don't think I signed an NDA for the stress test. Maybe I did. Who knows?
I
clicked through a
I
bunch
saw
of
there
things.
was one, but I didn't see anything in it that said "don't talk about it," which is kind of weird. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want them coming and taking my show. That's all. Our show.
Yeah. So I didn't say nothing.
No,
So,
you didn't.
You're welcome, guys. Beat stopped me. Randark. Beat
Eh,
Dark.
it's the same person. Have you played any Hearthstone yet?
I did. It's kind of like if someone took all the fun out of Magic the Gathering.
Wow, you think it's that bad, huh?
It's not. It's not great.
How far into it have you gotten?
Is there an NDA for this?
I don't think so. I've heard a lot about it in podcasts and stuff.
Okay, it's in beta, so I don't know. I unlocked all the decks. I went through and unlocked them all, and I did a little of the PvP, and I did the free arena thing they did, and it's all fun and stuff. But there's no reactionary cards at all. It's
No,
all
there isn't any of that.
monsters or direct damage. Like that's literally the only 2 cards in a deck. And I feel like it removes a lot of the strategy and the complexity that's in Magic. There's no mana. You get guaranteed mana every turn. So there's balancing your mana versus your cards isn't really a thing. You can't trade cards, so it's all RNG, which is to promote you buying more cards, which I think is a little shady, but what are you gonna do?
You're really kind of bringing me down on this. I've
There's not a lot
enjoyed what
going
I've
on.
done, but I'm not nearly as far as you into it because I've been gone.
I liked it for what it was, but essentially it boils down to who gets the bigger, better creatures out first and swings. When you declare, for those of you familiar with Magic, when you declare your attack phase, you can attack with anything you've got, except there is summoning sickness, but you can attack anything with anything you've got, and you get to pick the targets. So you pick if you're swinging for the mobs on the field or the player. And there are certain cards that can change that, but for the most part, it really is just who's got the best cards, who's got the big hitters, and who gets them out early. And I don't know. It's very very simplistic for my taste. Especially as a Magic player, I really like the multicolors. I really like playing blue, which is all reactionary for the most part, or gimmicks, and that just doesn't exist in this game. And the fact that you can't trade cards and you're completely reliant on buying packs to get the cards you want just screams money grab to me, and I'm not a big fan of that. Uh, the core of the game I like, but aside, at least now in the beta, there's not a lot of reason to play. There's no tournaments. There's no the arena is the only thing that's not just straight 1v1 PvP. And I don't know, there's just not a lot hooking me to come back. So,
Are you going to write a strongly worded letter to Blizzard?
probably not. I'm lazy. They know what they're doing. They'll make money. What am I? Who am I?
I've also been playing it, but I've only gotten, I've gotten through the tutorial part, and then I basically played one match or maybe two after that. And I won the first one, and the second one, I've only had the mage deck. I ended up playing a priest, and it's supposed to team you up against someone you have a chance against. I'm sorry, someone that's unlocked another deck is far ahead of where I am and should, not be in my range.
Yeah, that's one of the things is the decks are clearly not balanced right now. Hunter, hands down, far and away. I don't know if you played one yet.
Nope.
But the Hunter deck is hands down the most powerful deck. Like it just is. Almost every creature puts down an extra creature when you cast it, and since there's no real like board sweeps or creature rearranges or anything, it's whoever has that advantage will win. And right now, like if you go in PvP, as of right now, Hunter is predominant and will just spank you like a redheaded stepchild. Like, I mean, relentlessly.
I'm okay with that in a beta because it is a beta, but if it comes out and it's like that for more than a week, there's a real issue to be dealt
Well,
with.
that's the big thing is from what I gather, it's been that way for a good chunk of beta, and I don't think they know how to fix it. Because they really haven't addressed it, and they probably will. Like I said, Blizzard knows what they're doing. They know how to make money. It'll be fine. They will figure it out, and I'm sure I know a lot of people who are really hot on this, like are really enjoying it. But for someone who's an avid Magic player and has been for the better part of a decade and a half now, it just lacks the complexity that I want in a card game.
I can understand that.
They may get there, obviously with each expansion, they're going to have to add more than just damage and creatures. So I'm sure we'll get there eventually. And like I said, a lot of people really like it. But so the way the arena works, which is really there are only two ways to spend money right now: the arena and buying packs. The arena, essentially, you give them $2, and it's their version of a draft. You pick they offer you 3 classes out of your total. I think it's 9 in the game right now. They offer you 3, and you pick one, and you get your base cards that you've unlocked. So make sure you've unlocked all your cards, or you will screw yourself. Plus a draft selection of I think it's like 4 packs. It might be 3 of cards, and you mix them all together, and then you play. And you have 3 total losses before your arena bout ends. So you can win infinite number of times theoretically, but you keep that deck until you're done, so you've lost. And the longer you play, the better whatever your reward is. How many packs you get is better based on how long you go. Each tour in the arena costs you $2.
Ooh.
And I will say, at least in the
dollars,
beta,
right?
yes, $2 actual dollars. This may change, but right now is the best way to get cards in the game as long as you're somewhat decent. The unlock rate for just playing the game and earning XP is you will never open a pack of cards. Like, I mean, obviously you'll get like maybe 1 pack a week or probably closer to 2 weeks for a casual player, which is just not that satisfying to get like 1 usable card every 2 weeks. They're going to really have to tweak, especially since you can't trade or get them any other way. They're really going to have to tweak how that works, I think. But they've still got time. It's a beta. And overall, the balance aside from the Hunter is pretty good. But then again, if you can't balance 2 types of cards, I don't know what you're doing. So
Yeah. I was having a good time with it, and now you've kind of just made me see all the flaws in it, and I'm like, oh, he's
I'm
right.
good at poo
You're
pooing on stuff.
right.
What can I
Oh. Anyway, so I played a lot of Assassin's Creed the past 2 days. Assassin's Creed 2
Which
to be
one?
specific.
Two. Okay.
2 with Ezio and Leonardo da Vinci.
Ezio Auditore.
And I was saying that I really wasn't enjoying it at first. I didn't care for Ezio. I thought he was kind of a douche and he had to be slapped in the face. But the more I play it, the more I really like it. I'm doing the Templar treasures in the Assassin's. What are they called? The Assassin's Tombs. But those are basically just puzzles of how well can you manipulate your joystick, and those I don't really like.
Weird. That's usually a lot of people's favorite part are the tombs. I understand, but
It's just a joystick. Can you press your? Can you do this in the right? It's move the joystick in this direction now. And I guess you can boil all games down to that, but it just
true.
I don't feel like there's any. If I bring 5 vials of medicine along, there's no way I can really lose. I don't feel challenged by it. There's nothing chasing me. I don't know. But I've gotten in a couple situations where I had like 15 guys on me and I'll slaughter 3 of them quickly and like 10 of them run away. That is awesome when that happens. I've been playing some Pokemon Y, of course. I'm going to mention it here so I don't get into it when we're talking about the game because I actually really enjoyed it. But Nintendo has to do something for me. I'm getting really pissed off. I've lost 2 cities in Animal Crossing New Leaf and 2 playthroughs of Pokemon now, totaling over 100 hours between them, probably close to 200. And in Pokemon, it's a total of about 60 hours. Just a 25-hour game lost and then a 35-hour game lost because it crashes during the save. And then I go back in and it tells me the save is corrupted. And then it tells you to view the manual. And the manual says, nope, can't fix it. Why didn't you just fucking tell me that in the error? I don't know. And I've been playing some Pinball FX2, which is phenomenal, by the way. Have you played any of the Zen Pinballs?
I played one way back in the day.
Right now they got a Humble Bundle going on where you get a whole bunch of tables for like $6, and it's to benefit. I want to say it was the tornadoes, but I don't think it was. I think it was the typhoon out in the Philippines.
Okay.
So you can go up to Humble Bundle and get those, and for $6, it's a lot cheaper than you're probably gonna pay like $1 a table if you buy them through Steam. So. It was a great deal, and I've got a bunch of them on my tablet already, so getting them on Steam is nice, because when I finally end up building my video pinball cabinet, I'll have all these to play on it. But I played enough over the last couple days that I've been home to top everybody on my friends list as far as scores, which I always feel better about. So, what have you been up to?
I bought a new TV to go with my new Xbone.
What'd you get?
And I've an LG 50-inch 1080p. Did not get 3D because 3D is a fad and stupid and makes my eyes hurt, which is why I keep my 3DS.
Fuck you, dick.
Off. I don't like 3D TVs. I don't like it.
Have you tried?
My eyes hurt.
Do you like it in the theaters?
It's okay. I would rather not pay the extra like $5 per ticket. It's tolerable though, I guess. It just never looks that good at home. At least the TVs I've tried, my friends' TVs.
The LG version uses the same technology, the passive technology, and the same type of glasses. That's the one I bought.
I'd be willing to come try yours. Fly me up to Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't have the cash to do
/
that.
Rochester.
You're more than welcome to come if you can get here. But.
Yeah. Maybe after the new year. I got a lot going on.
And you had something else going on?
What did I tell you? I'm sure I told you about something that I have now forgotten about. Let me see here.
My
company transfer. Yeah, my company transfer. I talk about it every week. This is finally, we're done. I'm moving to AT&T next week as of the 1st of December. So that should be interesting.
Do you have a new boss?
No, my boss is transferring with me.
Well, that's
my
good,
whole
at least.
division. So nothing's really changing except where I enter my time on my timesheet. So that's nice. I mean, theoretically, nothing's changing but that. We'll see what really changes.
That's pretty cool. For me, I have this week off paid because I worked 25 straight fucking days in a place I hate, doing a job I'm not really fond of either. So I've been filling my week with selections from my DVR and video games. I've been catching up on The Walking Dead, which I think this is a strong season, though maybe not as strong as last season, because I really enjoyed the dynamic between the governor and Rick.
I'm sure I asked this. Have you read the comic? No, maybe.
I knew it existed. I never got around to picking it up.
It's because I'm the opposite. Like every show I watched all of season 1, most of season 2, and part of season 3. Mostly because the longer it goes, the more I'm just like, they did it better in the comic. And I know that's curmudgeonly of me, like, but the comic is just so good. Like when I see the stuff, it's just in the show, it's just like, I guess that's a kind of a way to do it. Like, man, this is different. I hate it. So
you've been watching
it's probably
Agents
a good
of
show.
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
That's just how I quit watching. That show is aggressively boring. Like it goes out of its way to bore the crap out of me.
I'm through, I think, the 5th episode, and I'm enjoying it. I don't know why.
It's the
They're
first
starting to
the
develop,
first couple I liked, but I don't like any of the characters in the show. Sky and whatever Muscles McPunchy, the main guy is called, I don't know his name, is just boring.
He's
like the
boring as
scientists,
fuck.
the scientists are okay, but the two main characters that I'm supposed to give a shit about and their like romantic chemistry, I just do not care. Do not care.
I don't. Sky pisses me off.
But,
Just
and this
'cause-
is it's so weird for a Josh show, which is usually thrives on strong female characters. Sky is boring. God.
I just
awful.
watched one that was centered on the scientist, though, and that one was really good. It also had
I know exactly what you're talking about, and that one is great. Fitz and Simmons, or Fitzsimmons as they like to call themselves, are great. They're great. I like Coulson. I think he's underutilized in the show, and they're playing up the "what happened to me when I died" thing a little too much, which is weird to say.
I'm interested in that storyline, so for me, that's working.
Wait till you get a few more episodes in. You'll get tired of them teasing it. Like, just like the problem is they tease it every episode, and I want you to either go into it a little and not go all the way, or just don't tease it and bring it up again later. Don't every episode mention it because it starts to feel cliched to me.
I'm kind of getting tired of the Monster of the Week thing, but for him, it's a tried and true method of keeping a show on the air for 4 to 7 years. So
That's true.
I get it, but.
Plus, after watching shows like Supernatural that start as a Monster of the Week and then abandon that premise, I gotta say, I kind of long for the Monster of the Week. It keeps things fresh and different, even if, sometimes you don't want an overarching story that every episode is about. Cause
I don't need it every episode, but I'd like it a little more than I'm getting. But all in all, I am enjoying it. And maybe that's just because I'm sitting and watching it with my wife, which I haven't had a chance to do in a while, but...
I do watch it with my wife, and to be fair, Becky actually really likes Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so it's probably just me being a piece of shit, which happens a lot. It's not shocking that I hate something. You folks don't know me a lot, but I am known as he who hates. If I was an Indian, that would be my Indian name. He who hates things. So it's not shocking, really.
Yeah.
So it's probably a decent show. I'm grumpy at it, but it is what it is.
And I've also been watching Bar Rescue, which if you're not familiar with that and you've ever been in the food service industry and you can take watching gross things, that's a show worth watching because there are some stupid fucks on that show that are just fun to watch be stupid.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a guy named John Taffer knows all there is to know about running a successful bar, and he goes around helping people who have bad ones. And most of the time, they're fucking shitholes.
So Restaurant Impossible for bars.
Yes, essentially.
Okay, I like Restaurant Impossible. I can get behind that.
I like John Taffer more than that
British quackwad. I don't know. Whatever is it? Chef Robert Irvine.
Irvine. That guy. I'm not a big fan of Restaurant Impossible, but it's the same type of thing, but for bars. And it's on Spike, and Spike's got a whole bunch of them. They got one for tattoos now, and it's just stupid.
Is it still Spike? I thought it was gonna be like G4 or something, or not G4. Or was no G4 is turning into GQ. Spike is still Spike. Okay, I got confused for a second.
Okay.
Well, I knew one of them was GQ Network.
All right. You want to start with our first news story of the week?
Yeah. Continuing the theme of someone did something awesome with something really old. Someone has crammed a Raspberry Pi into an Amiga, Commodore Amiga. They have replaced the floppy drive with a Raspberry Pi preloaded with all the games. So that's neat.
It's pretty freaking awesome. I mean, it's that you're still using hardware to play the games, which is cool in itself, and then you don't have to bother with the floppy, the switching of the floppies.
Yeah,
And running multiple drives of stuff that, is eventually going to break because it's fucking 25, 30 years old.
Yeah, it's actually really, really cool. This is, normally I'm like, that was a waste of time. You putting your Virtual Boy in a 3D TV.
You making your Doom piano?
God, there has to be some better use of your time. Cure cancer or build the ultimate sex bot. Like anything. Literally anything. But this is really fucking cool. Like, I actually really like this. Play all your Amiga games on a Raspberry Pi that you're still technically playing on hardware. Like, that is very cool to me. And I am excited that is a product in the world that exists.
Yeah, if it was me, that's just how I would do it. But I've never had a Commodore. I've never had an Amiga. And so I don't really know what he's experiencing. But that's me. I would like to have one day, but I'm going to try to collect the things that I have and that are more from my childhood than before my childhood. Next we have
before our childhood for certain.
Next we got a gritty series of Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Princess Toadstool, because she will not be Peach in my fucking world. Movies that are on YouTube. These are great. I don't know if you got a chance to watch them beforehand. I know I mentioned to you a little bit beforehand. I didn't know if you turned them on at all. But these videos are just great. They're done by a group called Polaris. And they just take a gritty approach to the world of... Why is it only playing so little? That's weird that it's doing that. A gritty approach to the world of Super Mario. And Toad looks freaky as fuck. He kind of reminds me of crap, my mind is just not there tonight. Who in Hellboy, the blue guy?
The fish man.
Yeah.
What is his name? He's played by
He's played by that guy.
The dude, Golem guy. That guy does all the stuff. What is his name? Oh man, I don't know.
It doesn't matter. That's what he reminds me of. You can see him here in the video if you're watching the video version of it. And he just looks creepy.
Abe Sapien.
Yes,
Abe Sapien.
Abe. I knew Lincoln was involved, but Lincoln that part was not.
Okay.
But it's really cool take on it. They have the mushrooms in there. They have the power flower, and they got to rescue. Luigi's talking how he's an addict and that, but he's got to go save the princess. And Mario's beefing up, and he trims off his beard to only have his mustache. And it's just really, really good. And they're like 4 minutes apiece, but definitely worth watching.
I haven't seen them, so I will have to check them out. They sound cool.
Oh, you want to take us into our next one?
Yeah, this isn't exactly current. This was dug out of the old archives, but in 1984, the development company Epyx sent a copy of the Summer Games, a game they developed on the, I believe it was Commodore 64. Yes?
Yep.
They sent that over to the Soviets, specifically the Soviet embassy in Washington, to try. Only problem was, in 1984, the Soviets were boycotting the Summer Games. And they were also apparently avid Atari fans. So not only did they not care for the game, they didn't have the system to play it on. So the company Epyx immediately rushed them out an Atari version of the game, but never heard feedback on it. But we've offended the Soviets more than once, and this was not the first or last time.
Could you just imagine that this was the straw that broke the camel's back and started the
Right?
fucking war?
This was the beginning of the Cold War. You motherfuckers. How dare you send me a... Like, not only did you send me a game I'm boycotting, you sent it to me on a system you know I hate.
Oh, it's fucking great. I actually own this game for Atari, and I have to say the Commodore version looks much better. Of course,
And for the
no-
record, in this game, I forgot about this. In this game, the theme song for the USSR is the Internationale, which I don't know if you know this, is not the theme song of Russia.
it is not their national anthem. If you want a good
No.
version of that, watch Hunt for the Red October.
Yeah, Sir Sean Connery.
He will stab you in the eye.
Yeah.
All right, our
Go
next
for
story is about Hangly Man. It's an old Pac-Man bootleg, and there is a arcade game of it for sale. I had never heard of this until I saw this article on Kotaku. But if you're in the St. Louis area, you can go ahead and look on Craigslist, and you'll find this. Someone has, and they wrote a whole big story on their experiences with the unit. And they apparently thought it was just regular Pac-Man. They said there were some differences, but they didn't realize what the differences were. This thing is apparently very rare, and it's only $650.
Only. My
Oh.
TV was $500 for a 50-inch 1080p.
Yeah, but it's not Pac-Man, and neither is this.
I'll give you $650 for Pac-Man.
It looks like a Pac-Man. It plays like Pac-Man. It just has a few different levels, and what was the other thing? Oh, it uses the original Japanese names for the ghosts. So, what are you gonna
Not
do?
Lincoln, Blinkin', and Nod.
No, and it was. Oh, that wasn't their names. It was Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde.
Yep. Good on you. I was wondering if you pulled that out.
Yeah, mine's working in that way. Not
Hey,
anything it
Blinken.
needs to, but anyway. So 650, you can go and get your own, and if you want, you can find the. There's an article on Kotaku about it, but we'll include a link in our show notes to the Craigslist ad that has a whole big story on his experiences with the unit and how him and his ex-wife lost their cat. It actually was a pretty sad ending to the whole story.
Huh.
In console
Now
news,
you brought it down.
in console news, we can expect nothing new for the next decade. So there's that.
Yeah. Both new systems are, well, I guess, if you count the Wii U, which I own, so do not send me hate mail. If you count the Wii U, which I kind of don't, all three are out. So here we are. Unless you count the Steam box as next gen, which we don't know when we're getting that.
I still don't count that as a console, even
And
though
since
it's
I
going
wasn't-
to be.
And since I wasn't invited to the beta, I don't know what it's like. Come on, Valve, hook a brother up.
Yeah, no joke. Come on, I'm on a Steam podcast as well. You know, we can really hook you up with some free publicity.
We'll split a unit. I will fly up there. We will split this. Fitty.
I got a bunch of games I can already play on it. You don't have to. Whoa, that was weird. I was watching the Hangley video, and he hit the power pellet and lost the maze. Here it goes. Boom, there. Oh, terrible. Anyway, so yeah, all the new systems are out. Everyone's happy with nothing because there's no video games to play on them, basically.
Dead Rising 3 is pretty great. I'm just going to put that out there. I've really been enjoying. I don't like Dead Rising 1 or 2, for the record. I really have been enjoying 3, which is a Xbox 360 exclusive, and basically the only exclusive for any Xbox for any system to have launched.
Oh,
So there's that.
There's Knack.
Knack doesn't count.
Knack doesn't count. I'm better than Knack.
Ah, man, I got a tech demo that's kind of neat. Want to play it? That game is a tech demo. It's a neat tech demo. It's a tech demo.
All right. That brings us into our featured game of the week, Pokemon X and Y. So you played X, I played Y because I have a Y chromosome and you do not.
That's hurtful.
I
I just like the deer Pokemon, man.
just like the deer. It's a stag. You're not invited to my stag party.
Right?
So Pokemon X and Y is basically a beginner's JRPG. It was developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, which I think is a subsidiary of Nintendo, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I don't know how that works, but it's definitely owned and operated by Nintendo somehow. Whether it's actually owned or they're just like, this is our bread and butter, let's listen. I don't know which. I haven't looked into it, to be perfectly honest, but yeah.
Okay. It was directed by, and I'm going to terribly destroy this, Hunichi Masuda. I'm going to think that's right, but it starts with a J, and I can't pronounce a J in Japanese.
I think you pronounced it Spanish ways. I don't think it's an H in Japanese, but I don't know. I know.
I just kind of skipped it and went to the U, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was released of October 12th this year. Yes, we're a retro podcast. Yes, it's a new game. We're going to talk about how it compares to the games that are retro.
We do what we want.
Do what we want, motherfucker. You listen or don't. We don't give a shit. But please listen. 4 million copies were sold on the first weekend, and that included the pre-orders. And I was part of that. You got yours right away too, didn't you?
Yeah. Does that count digital sales?
Yep, that was digital sales as well.
Seems low to me somehow.
4 million in a weekend?
Yeah.
Animal Crossing's only at 6.5 overall, and that's the highest selling game on the system.
That's because Animal Crossing kind of sucks. Deal with it, Pete. I said it.
Metacritic gave it a score of 87 for X and 88 for Y, so once again, I got the better version.
Wait, aside from the one thing, they're exactly the same.
I don't know why. I don't know
How do
why.
you get different scores? They're actually the same product.
I don't have a clue. Maybe it's because
Oh my
of Charizard Y is better than Charizard X.
I think Charizard X is better. I said it. Charizard Y looks all stupid.
So you want to talk about the story?
Yeah, it's Pokemon. You start out on your journey, and you want to be the best, the very best that ever was, really. And you catch Pokemon. You usually leave with a rival. This time you have 3 people that leave on your journey with you.
4.
One is your
It's
rival.
4.
Is it 4? Who's the 4th?
Yeah, the little girl chick.
There's the one that's your rival.
Yep.
Yeah, the one that wants your D. Well, if you're a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was all up in my Johnson. There's the fat kid that likes dancing Pokemon.
Yeah. What the fuck is that? How is the fat kid the one who dances?
There's the nerdy kid that wants to catch them all, or he wants to fill his Pokedex.
I think he wants the fat one to fill his Pokedex.
Something. Then there's the girl who's your rival, but you're clearly better than Gary Oak. You suck, Lady Gary Oak, really. And so you leave on your journey. This is different in that you get 2 starter Pokemon. Your friends give you one randomly. And then your Professor Sycamore, keeping in the tree naming scheme, gives you one of the original Pokemon. You get to choose from a Charizard, a Squirtle, or a... Why is my brain farting?
Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur. The only starting Pokemon to have 2 types, by the way. He's a plant or grass / poison type. Only started Pokemon. You just learned something new.
I did.
And then your other 3 are Chespin. The new starters are Chespin, Froakie, and the one I hate. What's the other one?
Oh, fuck. Fennekin?
Fennec, the Firefox, the Mozilla.
The Mozilla, yeah. We'll call him that from now on. That works.
And so while you're journeying to be the very best, you find the current team that's trying to kill you, which is Team Flare. I like to call them Team Buttons.
Why?
Because Flare from Office Space, I mentioned it earlier. They got their pieces of Flare. It's fantastic, right?
Yes, it is.
And if you don't know this, every Pokemon region is loosely based on a country. This one is France, which makes it extra gay. So everyone talks all weird and has berets, and it is what it is. Lumio City, which is the central city, is Paris.
It is
Instead of the Eiffel
Paris.
Tower, there's a big ass light. I don't know, tower.
And Lumo City, the city of lights, Paris.
It is what it is. And Team Flare's ultimate goal, they want to wipe out humanity because we're making the Earth less beautiful.
Yeah, they
which
want to
is
make it better
also
for
gay.
them and fuck everybody else, which means kill everybody else. Oh, what are you going to do? Type, 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 type.
Yep.
So then we're gonna go into a little bit of the gameplay. So basically, it's a JRPG. You do stuff, you grind levels, and you keep doing that through the whole game. And you can outlevel the entire game. It's an amazing thing. But basically, you grind your way through the game by collecting Pokemon and beating other trainers and gym leaders along the way. Each Pokemon has unique abilities that correspond to their type. I mean, if you haven't played Pokemon, then you don't know, but you have different types of Pokemon. You know, water, fire, wind.
16. I think it's 16 or 17 types now with the new. It might be 17 with the new one.
Yeah, they added Fairy in this game, which kind of messed up the meta game a bit. There's Dragon, and there's
Which is the hard
Ice.
counter to Dragon, which was really, dominating the metagame if you follow the Pokemon metagame at all. Dragon is really powerful. So they added Fairy as a hard counter, which the metagame really hasn't settled yet. So it'll be interesting to see where that ends up in the long run.
And of course, each Pokemon has unique abilities. You know, some that are one of our favorite, Honedge, who eventually becomes some other.
Double Slash and then Aegis Slash, which is
That's
my
their
favorite Pokemon.
That's
Aegis
their
Slash.
names. He's a Ghost and Steel type, but he also
I'm
gets
sorry,
some,
Doublade. It's Doublade and then Aegis Slash.
He
My bad.
gets he'll also pick up some flying abilities along the way because he floats in the air, so he can do some of the flying stuff.
He's a Steel Slash Ghost Pokemon. He's a sword inhabited by a dead man.
Yeah, that's well. If you read a lot of the stuff in the Pokedex, there's a lot of creepy crap going on. So the Pokemon can evolve as they level up, or from trading, or from connecting them with a certain stone. In the case of what's his name, that little fox-looking thing. Shit, my brain is not in it.
Lucario? Are you talking about Lucario? What are you
No,
talking
no. The
Fox thing. Finnegan?
no, it's not the fire one. He evolves by giving him different types of stone. Like you give him a thunderstone, he
Eevee.
becomes a Eevee. That's it.
Wally.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch. They evolve into a whole bunch. Hey, Scott Viper's here, and he knew it was Eevee. Oh, excuse me, I'm a pig. There's also a depth chart that describes the weaknesses and strengths of each type and what they're good against, what they're bad against, who can destroy them easily. And of course, we talked about how this generation introduced the new type, the Fairy type, which kind of screwed everything up for everybody. But at the same time, the Fairy type, I haven't found one Pokemon I really like out of that type. Have you?
There were a couple. Apparently, there's some that people really, really like. The Fairy type Eevee, people are really liking. I forget its name. Something fairy sounding. And then there was a bunch of existing Pokemon got moved, like Clefairy, obviously, and Clefable, which people still like. I think Chansey got moved.
Yeah, they
Couple
did a lot of retconning with that stuff, with the introduction
Couple
of
of-
new.
couple of-
But after everyone's evolved, you can eventually have a Mega Evolution now. After you get a certain point in the game, you beat up your rival, and then you beat up the gym leader a second time, and you get a ring that will work with your Mega
Bracelet.
Evolution stone. Oh, that's right. It ends up being a bracelet. I'm sorry.
It might be a ring if you're a girl. I don't know. I didn't play as a girl.
I play as a guy. I thought it was a ring, but whatever.
I just want to give you a hard time, lady.
Eat a dick, double X's. That's right. I have a Y
Yay.
chromosome. So that corresponds with the Mega Stone, and you can choose to Mega Evolve during a fight, which kind of screws with the metal game a little bit more as far as, do I Mega Evolve now? Do I take a few beatings and then Mega Evolve and then pound him? What do
It
I
also
do?
requires your Pokemon to hold a stone, which precludes them from holding anything else.
Right.
So they can't hold berries or, literally anything else, just the stone. Which are you willing to give up, a power-up item, that might increase your move type damage for a Mega Evolution? And thus far, it seems to have been pretty useful. I don't know of anybody who says it's less useful. And most Pokemon have two types, X and Y evolutions. At least for the starters, they have an X and Y. Some of the others, like Haunter and Dengar or whatever, have just one. But that gives them a new, and it can change a lot of things. Like for Charizard, Y actually changes his type, and he becomes a dragon. Surprisingly, he was not a dragon.
No, he's still fire.
Even though he looks like
dragon.
even though he looks like a big old flying dragon, he was not. So it actually changes his type, which changes his weaknesses and strengths, which is kind of surprising. And it can even give him new moves. So yeah, it's actually a kind of a game changer, really. It's neat. It can only be mega evolved for so long before it runs out.
Does it run out during a fight? Because I only got to the point where you fight the Lucario mirror match with it, and that's when my long game died.
Yeah, I think it does, but I'm not 100% on that. I didn't use a lot of them, to be perfectly honest. A lot of them require rare drops or rare finds that I just did not get. I have the Charizard X and the Lucario, but that is it.
Okay. You didn't get your original guy up?
I did not.
Froakie,
I don't. I did not get the Froakie one.
And you didn't do it with Torchic either?
I do have the Torchic. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Basically, you can get free Pokemon from Nintendo occasionally, and right now, I think it's through January, they're giving away Torchic, which is a small fire bird, a fire-based little chick. It turns into Combuskin, which is a name I just think is hilarious.
That comes with
chicken.
The hidden ability Speed Boost, and I'll get into hidden abilities in a minute. They're actually one of my pet peeves, but that is really good. It's the only way to get a Torchic in this game with the hidden ability Speed Boost.
The Speed Boost is really helpful. I mean, basically, if you go through 2 rounds of fighting, after that, you're going to be the first one to attack every round after that.
Yeah, it essentially ups your speed every round until you're just going first every time, which is great. And Torchic with the hidden ability has been in the top tier of Pokemon for several generations now, in the top 10 used Pokemons. So Pokemons. So it's really cool they gave it out right away, because it essentially is leveling the playing field a little bit, giving everyone a top tier Pokemon.
And you get it. You get it when you get to your first Pokemon Center. It comes out as level 10 and it already has its Mega Evolution Stone with it, so you don't have to find one, which is nice.
It is. It's very nice.
Can we get into how this game is basically teaching kids about cockfighting?
Oh, I mean, this is a Michael Vick simulator all the way.
I've known that since I was in high school and I was playing it. I'm like, really? We're going to go ahead and market this to children and parents aren't going to realize?
Bear this in mind. Nowhere in that game do you see meat animals, and there is meat in that world. You're eating Pokemon. Sentient Pokemon. They've established they're sentient. They think. They act. For their own best interest, and we eat them.
Delicious.
Oh, man. Some Pikachu leg? Yeah. Get a Charizard haunch. It probably cooks itself.
Hey, I have to ask this. Did you bother to collect as many as you could, or were you just kind of going through the game?
No, I have to collect them all. My OCD demands it. I could, if I would look at, after I left a region, I'd look and see what I missed, and then I would have to go back and, find it, and...
Okay, then the next question I have then is, if you evolve one, do you have to go back and get its original form?
No. I only need one of them. That I need. I only need. If it evolves, I'm fine with that. But if it has multiple evolutions, like Eevee, I need all of the ultimate evolutions. So I have to hunt down and Eevee is not easy to catch, and so finding them and then catching them is kind of a pain in the ass. And theoretically, you need 15 of them to get all the Mega Evolutions. I forget how many there are now, but one for every type. So 17, 18 evolutions of Eevee.
Scott Viper mentions another food, Lickitung tacos.
Man, that is an unintended side. This is the first Pokemons where the shit moves, by the way. The Pokemons move during battle.
They don't just stand there.
And it introduces some very interesting animations. Lickitung, he's just a big-ass tongue, essentially, and a pink, doughy body. So his animation is just licking all the time. It's kind of gross.
So do you have to? The other thing I wanted to ask you is, do you have to evolve them? Do you have to work them up and evolve them?
Yeah, because unevolved Pokemon are stupid. Ash Ketchum is stupid. Raichu is clearly better than Pikachu.
And I haven't been able to find one, but Piku, which looks like the unevolved version of Pikachu.
It is the unevolved Pichu. You have to breed to get it. You have to breed a Pikachu. It's the only way to get a Pichu.
Okay, are they new to the game? This version?
No, they've been around for couple, at least several now. They were in one of the movies.
Okay.
A while back. Yeah, I've seen Pokemon movies. Deal with it. They've been around a while. They're one of the few. There's actually a handful now that you have to breed to get.
Do you have any Pokemon that you have to find in a Pokemon game if it's in it? Is there any particular ones?
Alakazam, that piece of shit teleporting butt holster. I have to spend every time like an hour getting an Alakazam. Man, God, I fucking hate Alakazam. Like he's a great once you level him up, and he's one of the ones with a stone. Like when you level him up, like I can't remember his top name.
Alakazam is the top name.
Oh yeah, whatever the bottom one is, but the top one, yeah, he has a stone and he evolves, and he's really fucking good. But yeah, Abra,
then Kadabra,
yeah.
then Alakazam.
Abra can eat all the dicks, like
He just sits there sleeping. I'm gonna teleport away.
right, fucking.
And of course, the first time you find him, you don't expect it, so you don't have your sleeping Pokemon out.
And even if you do, he's gonna resist the damn thing anyway.
Oh, so yeah, you go around, you collect Pokemon, you fight them against each other, and that's basically the whole game. The Team Flare stuff's it's supposed to be the main story, but no one really cares about the story in these games. They just want to collect their Pokemon and fight other people.
Yeah, no one gives 2 shits about 4 shits about Team Flare or Team Lava or whatever team nonsense.
Can we also talk about how in this world we just send children off on their own with a fucking unevolved piece of shit Pokemon to protect them? I mean, why aren't these kids getting, murdered and raped? Because that's what would happen in the real world.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely very Japanese in that when you hit 12, it's time to go on your life journey. Like, all right, you're 12 years old. Here's a sword. Go into the world. Instead of a sword, it's here's a fire-breathing Pokemon.
In this world, your mother is a champion Rhyhorn rider, and Rhyhorn is basically a fucking rhinoceros. Why wouldn't you at least send that with him? At least then you have this giant fucking thing to ride and protect you. No, we're not going to bother.
Because you have to become a man by starting with. You don't want to hand it to you. You don't want to go out into the world and just beat everybody. You don't want to be Gary Oak. I mean, you want to be Ash Ketchum.
Oh, Ash Ketchum's a nitwit.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about the hidden powers?
Yeah. These have always existed in the Pokemon world.
Were they in red and blue?
They were. Well, no. The hidden abilities didn't show up till a little later, but the EVs were in ever since the 2nd gen, and IVs, which are I forget what EV stands for. IV is individual value. EV is I don't remember. But essentially, they were, for years, EV was a hidden stat. And every time you kill a Pokemon, you would raise this hidden stat by a number. And it would raise one of your stats in accordance with what the main stat of the mob you were beating was. And previous to this game, you had no idea what that number was. You had to get a fresh Pokemon. And if you wanted the perfect Pokemon for, let's say, playing in competition, you had to get a fresh one. And you had to make sure it was the right breed you wanted with the right base stats you wanted. And then you would take it out in the world. And you'd have to figure out every mob you needed to kill to get it to, I think it was 600. It's like 502 or 600 EV points. And the most you can get in each stat is 255 or something. There's a number. And you have to manually keep track of every mob you've killed and what numbers. And keep in mind, there's no way to see this. Someone hacked the game files originally to figure out that these existed. That these were a thing.
That's a lot of effort.
Yeah, so it was essentially Spreadsheet Master. It was how you became a Pokemon Master. In this iteration, it's the first time you could see your EVs. There's a whole thing about EV training. You get little punching bags and one for each stat. And you can actually reset your EVs with a reset bag, which is really neat. They're still a little tedious. I wish it was a little less tedious than it is. But what are you going to do, right? There's still IVs, which every value, every stat your Pokemon can have come with a built-in IV of 0 to, I believe it's 32. It might be 31. And there's really this is still invisible, and there's no way to see it. There are ways to pass down IVs. If you give your like Pokemon certain items to hold, they'll pass down individual value. But the only way to figure out what your individual value is to like breed one and then raise it and see how much stat increases it's getting in each thing. So to breed the perfect Pokemon, you need to find the right nature, of which there are like 15 or 16. You need to have the IVs for the main stats of that Pokemon, the 3 main IVs, perfect, which takes hours and hours of breeding to get the right ones. And then you have to level it to make sure you got the right ones. And then you have to EV train it, which takes several hours. And then you've got the perfect Pokemon. But only if you've gotten the one with the hidden ability, because most Pokemon, not all, but most Pokemon have a hidden ability. And the only way to get a hidden ability is by, one, playing last gen and going to the Dream World, and that's where you could get a hidden ability Pokemon. Or, in this generation, only through the Friend Safari, which the Friend Safari is every friend you've added into your friends list adds 3 Pokemon randomly generated to your Friend Safari. Those Pokemon can have hidden abilities, and it is the only way, aside from Nintendo events, to get a hidden ability, which are oftentimes infinitely better than the abilities obtainable in-game. And it's still random in the Friend Safari if it has one. So, ideally, and you can only have a max of like 100, I think it is, friends on your DS. So if you want to get, and most Pokemon are available, even Pokemon that aren't available in this game at all, like X or Y, are available in the Friend Safari. So ideally, you have to make, and every person, their friend code has 3 Pokemon assigned to it, and you can't change it, like at all. Like mine are, I have 5, and it's a type. So I have Fire type. I have, if you friend me on the thing, my Friend Safari has Ponyta, Fennekin, and I forget the third one, something dumb, Larva or something, Larvesta, I think it is. That's it. So if you've got another friend with those, it behooves you to stop being friends with that person and find a person with better Pokemon. And what I've noticed is what this encourages, because these Pokemon are and they all come with a minimum of, I think it's 2 maxed IVs, which is really a big deal in the Friend Safari. So it behooves everyone to go to a board like IGN or Kotaku or something and broadcast your friend code and be like, yo, dogs, everyone friend me. And which is what happened. I have 100 randomly picked friends from an IGN list. And if you get 2 with the same Pokemons, you boot one of them for the other. And it's, I get what they're doing kind of, but it's a little too much, if you know what I mean. Like, it's a little absurd. I think the EVs
really
should be
it makes
I think
sense.
the EVs
Go ahead.
should be a little easier to get. The IVs should just go the fuck away. Natures are okay. You should have diversity in your Pokemon. But the friends list thing was a nice attempt to get people to like make friends on the DS. But anyone who is a power player is just going to pick 100 random people based on the best Pokemon they can get. Like if you've got Ditto in your thing, you're a god. Like people will pay you money to like get your Dittos, because those Dittos are perfect for breeding. If you get a full set of Dittos, one with every nature, you can breed literally anything you want, like with the perfect. And because they all have good IVs, a couple crossbreeding sessions, and what used to take weeks and weeks of work to breed the perfect Pokemon now takes, hours of work, which is a nice improvement. Yeah. That's a nice improvement, but it does require you to like make random friends who aren't really your friends, who you're never going to talk to aside from, hey, can I have your friend code, to like, milk all this out. And they're moving in the right direction. I still think they need to decomplicate the series a little, but they do a wonderful, but at the same time, this really complicated back is what keeps a Pokemon tournament scene thriving. Pokemon's a really easy game to just pick up and beat. That's why kids love it. But it also has a really deep and rich leveling system, and keeps the older players coming back for more. I personally wish it was a little less complex. Like I understand it and know how to do it, but I think it requires way too much work to master, pun intended. But you don't need to do all that to just enjoy Pokemon at all. Like you can beat the game having played very, very little of this meta game. Or none, really. I mean, you can pick your favorite Pokemon and just go to town.
Did you use
I
any of
recommend
the
Acre/Slash.
online tools like the GTS or anything like that to trade?
I did a few random trades on the GTS. It's all, I mean, you may get lucky, but all I ever saw was people hoping their garbage comes back with something good. So it's just people trading
That's
garbage for
the
other
Wonder
garbage.
Trade, isn't it?
Or Wonder Trade, yeah. I looked at the GTS. The problem is, people that want to trade want to know like the IVs, the EVs, and the natures, and none of which is listed in
GTS.
the GTS. So you have no idea what nature the Pokemon you're trading for is, or what it's if it's got a regular or a hidden ability. So like I've been breeding a lot of hidden ability Froakies. They come with a really good ability that I forget the name of Protean. Protean is the hidden ability on a Froakie, and if you get a Protean Froakie, it when you use an attack, it changes Froakie's type to the type of the attack you just used, which changes his weaknesses and strengths based on his attacks.
And
Which is actually
ups the strength
yes,
of that attack.
which is really and it happens before the attack, so it's really 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 good. But when I try and trade them on the GTS, there's no way for anyone to know. I can put a little note on there, but then they're taking my word for it that I'm not just lying. So you still have to go if you really want to trade, rare Pokemon. You still have to go to forums somewhere and really, hash it out there because no one's going to take your word for that kind of thing. So the GTS is kind of missed. Wonder Trade is just people trading garbage for garbage. Like if you put something in there, you're getting out a friggin' Pidgeot, like a Pidgeot. Like that's just what you're getting, or a Pidgey, or some, Zubat or something stupid. You're not going to get anything cool. So there's that.
I actually have had some good luck on the GTS just on collecting different Pokemon. I'll throw
Yeah,
up.
if you don't care what their natures and stuff are, you can absolutely grab if you just want to fill out your Pokedex and you want like the starters from the other. Usually getting the 2 starters you didn't pick is a really time intensive process. Either you have to start and restart your game like 5 times and
Which
trade
we had
them
a friend
all.
do.
Yep. Or you can just get them usually for another starter, so you can breed your starter multiple times and trade it on the GTS for the other starters, which works great if you just want a Pokemon. But once you get up into the top tier and you're trying to get a Pokemon with the right nature and IVs, then the GTS is just not adequate.
So you have researched this far more than I have.
I'm a nerd, yo. I like Pokemons. Deal with it.
What do you think of the music and the sound and the 3D effects?
The music is Pokemon. Honestly, I played with the sound off a lot just because the repetitive music on every route. 2 minutes in, I am bored of. So it's harmless. It sounds like Pokemon music. It's not gonna win any awards. The 3D was good. It's only in the battles though. The world itself is just straight 2D. And I'll be honest, after I looked at it a few times, I began to play with my 3D off, which is my default mode for most games, because if you hold the 3DS, I'm going to complain about this a lot every time we play a 3DS game. If you hold it just right, it looks fantastic. It looks just the best, like great. If you don't hold it right, it looks like Bobo asshole. And because it's a handheld game, every time you shift, your eyes are moving, and it gives me the biggest fucking headache. Just makes me want to vomit. So I typically, if I'm not very stationary, like sitting in my one chair, like if I'm in a car or something, which is normally what I'm doing, I just turn it off. Like that's what happens. So
For me, I really enjoyed the 3D effects. I try to play all my 3DS games with 3D on as much as I can.
it looks when it works, when you're sitting just right, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
it's fucking great. But you're right. Playing in a car, playing in any type of situation where you might have to shift at all, it ends up being terrible. But that being said, I really enjoyed the music. I don't know why. I haven't heard any since. I haven't heard any Pokemon music aside from the TV show since Red, which is the last one I played. I played a little bit of Black too, but I never got far into it.
Yeah,
And
you did.
it just the difference between the original Game Boy Color and this is night and day. So for me, it was just nice to hear the tunes again, but in full.
And you
full
picked a good
stereo
one to
and
jump in
symphony.
on because, like I said, it's the first time that it's ever moved, which is nice. The Pokemon have animations and move, and
Yeah,
things happen. It's not just static, which is nice. It's a really nice touch. They got rid of the Poke contests that were in the last few, which were kind of dumb. I know people like them, so it's probably controversial, but they were stupid, y'all.
We've gone over some of the things and how it compares to the old versions, but I played Pokemon Red when I was in high school, and you can see the changes that have been made since then. As far as it looks obviously it looks a ton better because just hardware, but it plays better too. You don't seem to have to wait as long to go to move along and get your first badge and all that. You actually feel encouraged by the game because within the first hour you have your first badge. If you're not collecting, you have your first badge. You have a Pokemon up to level 10, and you're picking your second Pokemon right after that. So
Yeah,
it's pretty sweet as far as how it moves if you're just playing the story.
And they give you the roller skates in like the second town, which is a really big change. Usually you have to wait for the bike, which is a couple hours in. So you're walking a lot for most of the beginning of the game. This time they give you the roller skates right up front, which to me was a big, big boost. It just sped the game up, made it feel a lot better. Which at the same time, once they gave me the bike, I was like, play, what do I need this for?
The bike was a lot faster, so when you're making those long runs to pick your berries or whatever, it helped. But a lot of times I was trying to get the what are those two sticks you hold called dowsing rods. I was trying to get the dowsing rods to work, and you can't do those on roller skates. You can't do them on a bike. You have to walk using them, and
you do, and that's kind of
it
lame.
slows you down, but it gives you a big advantage if you can find all those items. You don't have to end up buying anything.
And there are some really rare items that's the only way to get. So all the fossil Pokemon are in. I don't know if you noticed that. You have to use the dowsing rod to find some of them, but the
I didn't notice that.
Pterodax and stuff, they're in the game.
The only one I found is the one you're basically given.
The two, yeah. Tyrantar, or if you can't tell, I took Tyrantar. Was Tyrunt, which turns into Tyrantrum eventually. The other one was I don't remember, something dumb. It was not a T-Rex. That is important.
We got a couple of new people in the chat I just want to say hi to. There's RB216, Marome, I'm going to guess it's Marome 2, Unicorn Butts 3X, and OC Beefy. And they obviously have been playing. They got some comments in here like, can you teach my Metapod and harden? And then, someone had to make another joke about hardening. And can you make my metaphors harden? This is after he asked me if I had a rainbow one. That would be a rainbow metal dildo. So, I don't know if they're trying to troll us or if they're here for actual fun, but thanks for coming anyway, guys.
I am untrollable. Dicks.
Yeah, I'll troll myself, motherfuckers.
No, but thank you for stopping by.
So how many have you been on a friend safari?
Yeah, I have 100 friends. I have 100 randomly generated friends. Aside from you, I have 99 randomly generated friends for Poke Safari reasons.
OCB's a little mad because he actually had real comments and I kind of ignored him. He mentions the GTS is silly. People only want legendaries for garbage pokes. I think he means the Wonder
it is,
Trade.
man. They do like.
Yeah, I actually put one up that wasn't quite garbage, and I got one that wasn't quite garbage back in the Wonder Trade. I can't remember it because that game save is lost, but I didn't feel like I got used. I got something I didn't have, so I was happy.
Speaking of which, if you had been using the I forget the service is called, the whatever that costs $5, your Pokemon would have been saved.
That I don't think starts until
it's not
December
live
1st.
Yet, no,
yeah,
but it would be, and your Pokemon would be saved. Your story would not.
And that would be enough because playing through the story doesn't take you too long if you have the strong Pokemon to just burn through it. Starting out at 1 again, fucking blows. OC Beef also mentions that the 3D effects turn battles into bullet time, and he kind of likes that. And you can learn to do tricks on your roller skates.
You can. There's actually in the haunted whatever house thingy, you can only get in there once you've learned the roller skating tricks to be a master.
There's a whole dungeon where you're skating and grinding your way through it as well. Well, I say dungeon, but it's a gym.
Yeah, gym.
I mean, let's face it. They took what worked out of Zelda and just changed it to gym instead of dungeon. but it's still pretty cool. I actually liked a lot of the dungeons in that. Well, I said it again. The gyms, like the rock gym, where you had to climb the rock walls and stuff to get up it. I thought it was a little pretty cool touch to add, things like that. Also, yeah, that bike, great time saver. Really enjoyed getting
Yeah,
that.
especially once you start hatching Pokemon and you have to count steps, which not a huge fan of. You just drive back and forth on your bike for hours until your Pokemon hatches.
I didn't realize that's what the basis was moving. I thought it was just
Yeah,
time in general.
it's based on steps, which encourages you to break the shit out of your circle pad.
Yeah,
So,
it does. Overall playing experience, what'd you think?
I really liked it a lot. I've played most Pokemon. I skipped Black 2, but I played Black 1 and pretty much everything before that. I like it. It's definitely an iterative process, much like Call of Duty. Instead of, they're just making a better version every time, not a new and improved version. You know what I mean? Like, they add something, they take something away, they tweak something. So you're not going to get revolutionary ever in a Pokemon game. But I think the improvements are solid. I think we have a little way to go before the EVs really pay off and the IVs are understandable by the masses. They definitely took a good step in that direction. We'll see how it goes in the long run. And I'm really curious to see how the metagame hashes out now that we've got the fairy type, because it throws a lot of the strong dragon type into question now.
I think what Nintendo's hoping in that is that it doesn't settle and it keeps a large pool of Pokemon that the people who are really into it get to choose from, because that always makes it more interesting, because you never know what someone's bringing to the party. For me, it was a great game. I enjoyed the 60 hours I played. That I played 25 of twice.
Yeah.
But I was upset that I lost the game, but I didn't feel like, oh, I'm throwing my whole fucking 3DS. Though I have told my wife I need to buy a new one. I need to go get that nice Zelda one because this one keeps dropping my saves.
God damn it. I bought the Pokemon edition because they said they were like never gonna make a Zelda one. And like a goddamn week later, goddamn week, the friggin' Zelda one. It's all pretty and gold and god damn it.
And you're not going to try to do the swap?
No, it's a waste of money.
Um,
Maybe I'll pawn it off on my wife and buy a new one.
yeah, she could use one. We could play more games together.
She'll play Pokemon or Animal Crossing New Leaf with you. I will not. Ever. I will not be trading you bells and or fruits, you fruit.
I need to get in there because everything's turned into autumn, and I haven't seen it yet. So it's been a long time since I've been in my little town. Anyway, so you mentioned your favorite Pokemon. Mine is the Venusaur, the evolved version of Bulbasaur. I just have always liked him since the cartoon show, which I shouldn't have liked when I was in high school, but I did.
Whatever, we all liked it. Everyone else can deal with it. I want to be the very best.
Like no one ever was?
No one ever was. Yeah, exactly. They can all suck it.
But we didn't mention our favorite types. What's your favorite type of Pokemon?
Mine is Steel. It has a lot of immunities, very few weaknesses, and you tend to get a pretty beefy Pokemon with it. Plus, Aegislash is Steel/Ghost, which is bitchin'.
For me, it's water. I think it's just because in real life I have this affliction. Affliction is the exact wrong word. I have this absolute love of the water. It's one of the reasons I joined the Navy. I was on the swim team and I dove. I love.
And
the
yet
water.
you look so bad in a swimsuit.
That's because I eat too much. That and I'm a man.
I was just gonna say because of your gross body.
Hey, I don't have
Weird.
the same amount of fur you do.
Weird superfluous third nipple. Hey, at least I just look like Chewbacca. It's a uniform covering. Like you can't even see me. It's fine.
All right, score out of 10. What do you give it?
I'm gonna go ahead and give this one. I'm gonna go with a 7.5.
7.
I think it's a solid game. I want it to be a little more than it was, but I really enjoy it. And to me, that is a solid score. It ain't no Mega Man.
It is not a Mega Man. For what I was able to play through, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. My major 2 issues with the game were I lost my saves, which fucking blows. I started again today, and I'm 2 hours in.
That was rough. Two save losses. Like wow, that sucks.
And the one time I tried an online battle against some random person, I just went into battle and it assigned me somebody. I got a guy who had level 60 Pokemon against my level 30s. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna quit and leave because that was a waste of my time.
Really? Because I thought it was supposed to balance you out. Like it was supposed to lower their Pokemon level, for what I understand. I haven't done really random battles, but
Maybe it was with an acquaintance then and not through the system.
yeah, if you do it through the system, it's supposed to balance your Pokemon out like to the
Okay.
same level, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost certain.
Another thing OC Beefy mentions is there were some big balance changes with this generation, and it's a much more of a defensive metagame. So that's interesting.
I'd heard that's how it was shaken out. I haven't been into the metagame much. I have been previously, but it's not sitting with me this time, unfortunately. But I'd
You
heard
mean
that.
because you
but I
have
wasn't
distractions with 2 brand new systems and a whole bunch of new games?
certain. Yeah. Dead Rising 3 is great.
We haven't talked about it yet, but what do you want to do for the next show? Right now, Mega Man 1, 2, 3, and 4 is for sale in the 3DS.
Well, we already played Mega Man.
We did 1, we didn't do 2. We can do that.
It's like the same game.
Okay.
We should do if we're gonna do Mega Man, we should do Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo. But I feel like there's some really good reviews of that game out there, and I don't want to step on them toes because that game is just sacred. Oh, you know what? Have you played a Castlevania?
I've played Castlevania 2 through.
Oh, that game is terrible.
That's
I'm
my
sorry.
favorite one. It's also,
Really?
It's also the one I've played through. So
That game is terrible. All right, I'll let you pick. I'll give you a couple to choose from. You want to do? We're gonna do Metroidvania. Do you want to do Castlevania or Metroid?
as a genre, you're talking because not a specific
Metroidvania
game?
is a
I understand Metroidvania
yeah,
is a genre.
yeah.
But
Well, you can pick a different game, but I want to do something in that genre. So we can do actual Metroid, Super Metroid, or we can do Castlevania, or any of the subsequent Super Castlevanias.
this is tough. I kind of want to do both. Well, let's
There-
do that then. Let's do Super Metroid this week, or for the
No,
next
do Super
show.
Metroid.
And
Okay.
then for the show after that, we'll do one of the Castlevanias. I'll let you choose whatever one.
Okay, they're great. Well, I mean, the one after is yours, unless you want to use yours to do one of these, because these are great games.
I'll just take 2 after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to do Super Metroid? Interesting choice. I'm gonna jump right into
Well, I've played the original. I have never gotten the Mother Brain, but I think I'd be too tempted to just type in the Justin Bailey code and go from
Yeah.
there. So,
Spoilers. She's a girl.
yeah, they'd show you right in the first one, and people were surprised, 3 generations later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the big reveal. She had 8-bit hair. Dun dun dun.
So yeah, we'll do Super Metroid. That
Sweet.
sounds
I love
awesome.
that game.
I'll have to play it via emulator because I haven't found it yet. But
Yeah, one of the better games. Hard to come across.
oh,
but
I
emulating is
completely forgot. My
Uh-oh.
cousin gave me a whole bunch of his old shit. He gave me 3 PS1s and a PS3 with a red blinking light of death. But including the PS1 is like 20 games, which is just fucking awesome because I don't know.
fun. Oh, nice.
I didn't own a PS1, and now I have a whole shit ton of games. A lot of them are wrestling and sports, but there are some great ones in there. There's a Crash Bandicoot's in there, a couple other ones.
Oh man, we can play one day Legend of Dragoon, which is my favorite PS1 game.
And I think I mentioned it before, but I've picked up a N64 and an Atari.
Yeah,
Or
I want an
600,
N64. Some horse shit. $80. I'm not giving anybody $80 for an N64.
Found out the guy I got it from where I got the good deals on the systems. I didn't get such a good deal on some of the games I bought.
It happens. It
Yeah,
happens.
I overpaid by like $10 on a Game Boy Color game, the Super Mario. It's not All Stars, but it's essentially Super Mario All Stars.
Yeah, I know which one. Don't know the name, but I know of what you refer.
Yeah, when I got back home here, it was $6 versus like the 18 or something I paid when I bought it. But whatever.
Yeah, shit happens when you
Oh,
party.
and I picked up Ninja Gaiden. That'll be our 3rd game in the line. Is Ninja Gaiden.
I liked the old ones. I do not like the Xbox one. Shit was too hard, yo.
But yeah, we'll talk about that first one because I haven't played it since I was a little kid. So that'll be episode 13. So we're pretty much stacked here for a while.
Oh, I've got a list. Don't you worry. That's where I pulled out my Metroidvania. I got a
OC
collection.
Beefy says Legend of Dragoon was amazing. So
That game is fantastic. It is another RPG. I don't know if you're into quite so soon after we did Chrono Trigger, but Legend of Dragoon is fan-fucking-tastic.
well, we did Chrono Trigger back in May. I think it's been plenty of time. I just got to find a copy of it.
Definitely a time
Start
eater.
going
And
through
it's you might have to emulate it. It's PS1, so it might be difficult to find, but the game itself is kind of hard to come by. Not impossible, but
Well, I'll take a look, see what I can find. I mean, if nothing else, I'm traveling a lot, so I can see a bunch of stores.
true. That is true.
All right, man. I think that pretty much wraps us up. Be sure to catch us in a couple weeks for our next show, where we'll be talking about Super Metroid. I am Randark. That is Urvik. We are part of the Geek Insomnia Network. This is our show, Return of the Retro. For those of you that are new with us, and I just want to say thanks to those guys at the Geek Insomnia Network for letting us be the Snorlax, blocking their path in their crazy cockfighting podcast network.
God, I can only picture people like sword crossing.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's an image you can't get out of your head real easy.
Don't cross the streams and don't cross the cock. So that's what Ricky Boxing was.
I haven't thought about Ricky boxing in a while. I did mention Ricky fishing the other day in reference to a lady,
That's terrible.
ham fisting her vagina.
Have a good night, everybody.